various reasons, I was starting out in my own practice. So systemic consulting sounded like just what I needed. So I did it was about a year course with them. And the two people, Martin and Peter Lang, Martin Little and Peter Lang, had somehow got hold of Appreciative Inquiry, and I think were some of the first people to bring it to the UK. And so the training on this course was like nothing I'd ever attended before, and it was based on both systemic constructionism and Gergen and all of that, very much around dialogue. The learning group was a dialogue learning group, and we talked a bit and we did a little bit of Appreciative Inquiry, but where it really, I suppose where I really experienced it was the summer schools. So there would be a week summer school, and I was, younger then, and not, like everybody, had confidence and lack of confidence and all the rest of it. But what I found was the way that this summer school was run and the questions they asked and just the way everybody kind of interacted and related, you just grew. I just felt better and better as the week went on, and more, I don't know, just more and more myself in an expansive, very open, very welcoming, very connected, happy with everybody. It was just an astonishing process. I then learnt the theory later, as it were, sort of got interested, what is this way? They would ask questions like, what is the world calling you to become? And these kind of, what I now know are appreciative, systemic, dream type questions, and we'd have discussions. And one of the things I noticed was after a session, when people came back into the room, people would sit in different chairs, and how that changed the dynamic and how that made it live all the time. It's been a profound change, and it really connects with resilience as much as anything. Then I worked in child protection, which is a fairly depressing place to work, or it certainly was then. A good session with a client was if we were both in tears by the end of it, kind of thing. And I always say this line is to do with the concerned social work face. I empathise. And I didn't have anything else in my, sympathy, empathy, practical help was kind of all I had in my repertoire, really. And I do remember, actually, when I was working in a children's home earlier on, that although all the focus was on problems, some of the children were astounding. Some of their resilience, their fantastic characteristics of loyalty or bravery, all sorts of things, which never sort of got noticed, really, in amongst all the challenge. So came to Appreciative Inquiry, which is focused on recognising what is working, where the strengths are, how people are growing, what's enabling them to survive, the strengths and resources and abilities that they bring. And this is so much more useful. If I'd known then what I knew now, sort of thing, I would have been a very different social worker. But anyway, we start where we are. So it just means that the world that I co-create around me, the world that I live in with people, because we are attempting always to kind of accentuate the positive, focus on what is working, focus on what we can do rather than what we can't, what we can influence rather than what we can't. It's a much more optimistic, productive, inspiring kind of place to be. So it's been transformational in terms of my practice, the world that I live in. Isn't to say that, of course, I always manage to maintain the appreciative frame. I'm still, if I get stressed and I come home, the first thing I notice is dishwasher hasn't been put on and the table hasn't been cleared and I asked you to do this and, and I have to really... So it's not a philosophy I can live by all the time, but in general terms,